my friend.
It's a button.
It is a button. I have to hit it. It makes the show go.
Okay, well then I'm all for it.
Okay.
I'm supportive. I celebrate
Good.
your entire catalog.
You celebrate my entire catalog. Now the question is it working? Things
That I don't know.
Okay. Well, I'm going to double
Here,
check
let me
it.
see what I can find. Let me look.
I'm going to take a look just to make sure that everything is hunky dory. I do see us, so that is good. Okay. Yeah, we're rocking and a rolling.
Yes, we are.
We are live and in person. We are
And in
also
color.
live on Twitch, which I am not sure why we're doing it, but you know why not. Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
It's just more people. And look, tonight, they're definitely going to get their money's worth.
They're going to get something because we have a cool show for you.
I have not looked forward to a show like I'm looking forward to tonight in a long time. Probably since we did our first World's Fair Money show.
Yeah,
or perhaps the second one.
Hey, Taffy Coins is in the house. What's up? What's up? What's shaking?
Hey.
Carrie, John, Patrick Conlon, hello. Good to see you. Thanks for popping in. Good to see you. Welcome. We have a fun show for you guys tonight. It's going to start here in a few minutes. Let's just warm up, say hi.
There we go.
You all right? You all right over there, champ?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to see everybody and see what was going on.
Oh,
I wanted to get connected.
Got it.
That,
Joe Bohannon. Hello. Taffy's trying to stay awake. Yeah, what time is it over there right now, Taffy? It's like 2 in the morning, right?
2 in the morning?
No, it's probably not that late. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Probably 1 in the morning. 5 hours. 5 hours difference across the pond, I think. Just a quick FYI, the Edmonton
for us it's 6.
The Edmonton Numismatic Society finally got an official YouTube channel. News breaking. When news breaks, we fix it. There you go.
Edmonton Numismatic Agency.
Or Numismatic Society Agency.
Is that yours, Carrie?
Making it sound too official.
Well, it was Canada, so I thought it was an agency, or a ministry.
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
Ministry podcasts.
So
officially said that we can air this.
You guys are in for a treat tonight. We interviewed the Mint director for the United States Mint.
Yeah.
And we have that whole interview for you guys. It's like we got 30 minutes with her. Super cool lady. She's very, very nice. I liked what she had to say. She's really refreshing. I'm
not excited. A softball interview.
No. Mike threw some hard ones.
Well, I mean, I think that we owed it to our listeners to at least be honest, and I didn't want to be, what does the Mint director do? What's your primary, that kind of stuff. I want to, hey, what's going on? And to her credit, she stood there and she answered everything. She's a really nice lady. She was really intent on being transparent.
Yes.
And I think that that's something that we can always use in government.
Yes, for sure. Totally. I want to meet her now. You've got to meet her. I didn't get to meet her because we were busy. So hopefully she shows up at one of the next shows. Like maybe she shows up at the fun show in Orlando. That would be cool.
More likely Baltimore.
Yeah, because it's so close to DC.
Although, well, no, she probably does work in DC.
She does, yeah.
Maybe in Philadelphia.
They called us out of DC.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm excited.
We got to show ourselves as journalists. And
you use that word. You use that word, but I don't think you know what that word means.
Inconceivable.
You called us journalists. We're not journalists. I'm a coin dealer.
You're a coin dealer. I'm a coin dealer. I consider myself to be a journalist.
I'm just the color commentary.
Yeah, I know, but you did fine.
Yeah. Taffy says that he is sending some goodies sending your goodies on Tuesday.
Oh, sweet.
So
he got me something very cool, and we're doing another little. He's sending me some stuff.
Nice, love it.
Yeah, the Royal Mint. It's like they do some really cool stuff.
Yeah,
and a lot of the stuff that they do is very limited. And the best way to get it is to have somebody over there.
Have an inside connection.
And I do.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, no, he's great.
Yeah, we like us some taffy. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I want to get to before we get into the show. I'm really kind of excited to get to it because we put a lot of energy into this and a lot of thought and.
Yeah, we were chasing this for a while.
Yeah. Oh, well, we've been trying to get a mint director on this show ever since we started 12 years ago. We've asked everyone, and this is the first time that we've actually got a response, let alone an interview. But I mean, before it was nothing. So
yes, I mean, I'll take it anytime anybody deals with us on a serious basis.
Yeah.
And does that.
Yeah, totally.
I'll take that. But that I think was the biggest obstacle to it, because I know that the numismatic press is not exactly really dogged at anything, and they basically do a lot of stuff where we report on press releases and things like that,
right.
Stuff that's fed to us. There's not a lot of investigative journalism, none of this stuff. So when it comes to actually talking to officials, there's not a lot of demand that's put on them.
Right.
So they're used to just kind of looking at things. No, not. I really don't care to. Right. And some of them have been better about it than others. I mean, I was thinking about who is the best mint director that you can think of, and I can think of two off the top of my head from two completely different eras. And you know what? They're both women.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ava Adams. I mean, she has a reputation 50 years afterwards that, she was one of the greatest mint directors of all time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Henrietta Holzman IV. So, look, I like it when people are good at what they do.
Right.
And she seems to have that same kind of enthusiasm for it, that same kind of personality. And I'm really, like I said, I got the soapbox out and I'm cheering.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that, she answers the call and does. So far, so good.
So far, so good. That's right. Well, sir, you ready to fire this dude off?
Oh, dude, I was born ready.
All right. Well, let me just tap a couple buttons over here, and we'll see what happens.
This is the Coin Show Podcast. A podcast about coins and coin collecting from the perspective of both dealers and collectors. Hosted by two guys with a passion for collecting and a combined experience of over 50 years in the coin industry. Here's Matt Dinger and Mike Nodelman on the Coin Show Podcast.
It is episode 211 of the Coin Show Podcast. I'm Mike.
And I'm Matt.
And tonight we have a super special show for you. We get to talk about your coolest things.
Yeah.
Which is always a special moment for us. But I think the moment you've more been waiting for is our conversation with United States Mint Director, Ventris Gibson.
Mm-hmm.
We will get to that in its entirety. But first, as always, the news.
Okay, buddy, here we go. Let's hear it.
The news is brought to us by Spicy Mike's Hot Sauce, the perfect blend of rational thought and sarcasm. Sometimes a little salty, but always a good time. Get you some Spicy Mike's.
Get you some.
And by Sweet Matt Super Hot. Nice and sweet, just the way you like it, with a hot back end that you won't soon forget. Look for it coming soon. Sweet Matt, super hot.
Oh, that's funny. With a back end you won't forget.
That's right. So let's see. I always love to see new designs for coins, and today is no exception.
That's right.
The effigy of His Royal Highness King Charles III has been released and will appear on coins dated 2022.
Huh. Okay. Cool.
Now, I think he was probably like, I've waited 72 years. Don't tell me to be patient. I'm the king now. Truthfully, I really didn't know about this, but these memorial 5 crown and 50 pence coins are commemorative, and so they're not legal tender. Coins of the realm bearing his portrait will be released next year.
Wow. His portrait is rather interesting. It's not bad. Looks like him.
Well, it's a change, and any change is going to seem...
His hair reminds me of the Kennedy half dollar, though, how it's swooped back.
Well, I mean, they kind of have the same haircut.
Yeah, you're right.
And what happens then? So my curiosity revolved around whether or not the Bank of England or the Bank of the United Kingdom, I think it's still Bank of England, and whether or not they would immediately try to replace all the coinage and all the banknotes, or if it would be done slowly over time, kind of like we do here.
Right.
And it appears that the slow and steady will be the winner.
Well, that's probably the way to go.
So as World Mint News blog reports, the Royal Treasury is currently well stocked in the way of coins, and as recently as 2019 announced that they had sufficient stocks of £2 coins that they did not intend to strike them for another 10 years.
Oh, wow.
But now that will be changed, as some of coins bearing the new king's image will be coined next year. But
so if they have a glut of coins, which they obviously just admitted to having, they're still going to go ahead and mint his coins just to have that continuity?
Well, I mean, think about it. They are not, they're not like us in the fact that he's their king.
Right.
And so that's a big thing to them, and there's a connection to them. He must be on everything.
Okay.
So, with that said, it's like, even though, and this is kind of where I got curious about it was, so what do you do? Because, it was different when coinage was silver and gold.
Right.
Because you could melt it down and you could recoin it. But now it only costs you money to destroy old coins because they don't really lend themselves to melting.
Yeah, the layered stuff and the clad stuff, you can't really melt it because it's bonded.
Right.
And
so it's my opinion that likely what's going to happen is they will strike some new 2022 coins with His Majesty on them, and they will slowly release 2023 coins with Charles III on them,
right,
and then slowly trickle out the 2022s, because nobody will know in 10 years after they've all finally been leached out into circulation.
Right.
Nobody will know that's the thing. Now, if he doesn't outlive that coinage, you end up with 1 year thing, but you still have his image on it. So
yeah.
I think
okay, that makes sense.
To do.
I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I mean it's just interesting though, and it's cool to see the portrait. And it's always I always used to like to see when they had the statehood quarter program.
Yeah,
what the new designs were going to be every year, because they came out with 5.
Yeah.
As we covered last episode, the Sidney Martin collection auctions continue with part 2, October 27th through 29th. Part 2 will focus mainly on French colonial coinage, Rosa Americana coinage, 1785 and 1786 Connecticut coppers, and Washingtoniana.
Washingtoniana.
10 times fast.
Wow. I didn't know that's what it was called for people that collected George Washington's items.
I thought it was just people who collected George Washington items.
Yeah, right.
Well,
that's what I was.
It's hard to say that any one of these is better than. Well, it's hard to say Washingtoniana in general. It's hard to say that any one of these is any better than the other. But Sidney Martin actually wrote the reference on the Rosa Americana series, and his Connecticut coppers are absolutely without peer.
Interesting.
So, and this is only part 2. And when coins belong to famous enough collections, they have a provenance, like this beautiful $17.95. Yes, you too can own Louis Eliasberg's $17.95 if you have a spare $35,000 or so laying around.
Yeah, why not?
The Heritage Long Beach currency auction. Oh no, sorry, I didn't mean to blow that off so quick. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a Louis Eliasberg coin. Who doesn't want that?
Right. Yeah. I mean, Eliasberg. I've owned Eliasberg coins. They're interesting. But yeah, they're.
Well, what I think is great about it is that, here it is. A lot of the Eliasberg sales happened, 30 years ago?
Yeah, a lot of that stuff was sold quite some time ago.
And it still is the label that people are looking for on the coin.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
So, the Heritage Long Beach currency auction will feature an 1882 $100 gold certificate.
These are cool. These are really cool.
How many of these you got?
No, 0. Big old 0.
Yeah, so this note is hand-signed and is one of 2 known examples.
Yeah, that's neat. Those
go
are
for a lot of money.
Pretty cool. Yeah, I think this one an estimate of 700,000 plus.
Yeah, just a mere bag of shells.
Yeah, right. Wow.
A nearly complete 1900 proof set from cent to double eagle. It's missing the dime. Will be offered by Stax Bowers at the Whitman Coin and Collectibles Winter Expo on November 1st.
How is it missing a dime?
It's nearly complete. It doesn't have the dime.
That's what I'm saying. Why not? Why doesn't it have
the
dime?
I have no idea, but this is a set that is complete from the $20 gold piece all the way down to the cent, with the exception of a dime. And I mean, a lot of these coins are cam and deep cam, and
maybe they just couldn't find one in Cameo that they liked. Who knows?
I don't know.
And they're all CAC approved.
I think it's kind of funny to me that it seems like people are putting together proof sets now from really early years.
Yeah.
So there was like that 1895 that we sold. There's this set. There's an 1855 set in this auction that's complete from $1 to half cent. Yeah. There was the 1892 set that we sold a couple of years ago, and we have an 1893 set.
Yeah.
Now here's the funny thing, right? So who's putting together these sets. They're boomers.
Oh yeah, totally.
Because that's what boomers did.
Yep.
We did that when I was a kid. We collected proof sets, and so here's the typical pattern. The boomers now have disposable income. They're retiring now. They're like, they're done in life. So they're going after these, but it's not good enough to have a proof coin.
Yeah, you got to have all of them.
Even though they were issued individually.
Right.
So
that's funny.
It just follows a pattern that's typical of them, and I think that that's who's buying it. And I also think that we'll talk more about it in a minute. So gold and silver were down this week, but sales seem to be very strong, at least in our shop.
Yeah, mine as well.
The premiums on silver and gold continue to be just ridiculous.
Astronomical.
But here's what I thought was interesting about the coinnews.net article.
Okay.
So go to the chart and look at how many American Eagles were made last week.
Let's see. American Eagles made last week 27,500 1-ounce gold Eagles, 408,000 1-ounce silver Eagles, and then they made some 10th ouncers. 10,000 of those.
Where are you getting your numbers? How many did you say they made?
I'm looking at the chart you directed me to. U.S. Mint bullion sales. We have a last week
2022.
number. Yeah, last
Tuesday / this week.
Oh, you asked me to look at last week.
I'm sorry.
So, yeah.
Well, that is this last week. That is this week.
But there's a column that says last week. That's what I was.
Yeah, you're right.
What I was reading.
I wasn't looking at the page. Sorry.
This week we made none. 0.
Pay no attention to last week.
But so last week we made looks like
what's the total mintage this week?
None, nothing, 0, zilch.
0. What does that say?
It says that they were taking a siesta or making.
It says to me they've stopped.
Could be.
they're going to start making 2023 Eagles pretty soon.
Yeah, we're getting to that time of year where they do switch it over. They do retool it,
and I think that this is your clear sign because they didn't make any last week.
It could be. I mean,
they made 408,000 Silver Eagles the week before.
Right. Well, we'll just have to keep an eye on this and see. Yeah. I mean, obviously that number is coming down. It's the least that they've made since before August. I mean, August 850,000, July 850,000. So, and then September 833,000.
Right.
So
the numbers were strong, and now all of a sudden it's like
you're probably right. They're probably tapering off production to go ahead and get switched over for the 23s and start production there to have them right at the beginning of the year, which is
and good. What does that mean to you as far as premiums go?
It means premiums are going to stay high because nobody's going to
go higher.
Yep, because nobody's going to be able to order them for the next 2 months.
Right.
So
for 2 months, you're not going to be able to order.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you better have your monster boxes put away now.
Should be there is definitely not anything like a shortage, I don't think, because they're still producing coins. They're just not producing coins that you can buy yet, is the thing. So,
well, you can hardly count that against your shortage, though, because they're not available.
Well, I mean, but that is part of the shortage. But it's not a planchet shortage. It's a obtainium shortage.
Yeah, they are unobtainium, right?
There you go. There you go. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. 2022 Palladium Eagles, speaking of unobtainium, are now available.
Right.
This year's coin is the second to feature a reverse proof design.
Huh. I'm trying to get a picture of it up here. I don't see one in the story. I see the Coast Guard medal.
Right. There is no picture on that.
Okay.
Page.
No, that's fine. I'm just trying to.
It has the Mercury dime design.
Okay.
So CoinWeek.com seems to be of the school that if the mint wants to increase interest on the Palladium Eagles, that continuing innovation will be needed. So they suggest using the enhanced reverse proof design. And I have to say, that would be really popular.
I think it'd be interesting. It's a very expensive coin that not a lot of people buy because Palladium's expensive right now. But
well, I think there's another reason why Palladium Eagles don't really sell.
Right.
And part of it is that it sells for too much now.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Ask Platinum Eagle buyers what happens when an industry turns away from your metal and finds a substitute. And could people live with those kind of losses in a 4-digit neighborhood again?
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what happened, and I think
the people who bought Platinum Eagles took it to shorts.
Yeah, so I think you're probably right there because these people may have switched over to Palladium Eagles, and we sure as heck wouldn't want to see that again. But
well, I mean, not at the premiums that the mint is charging for them anyway.
Right, that's true.
There's a huge spread on Palladium if you want to buy it.
Oh yeah, the spread on Palladium's like 10%.
It's stupid.
It's insane. So yeah, okay, well that makes sense.
And earlier I had commented about proof set sales. So in this particular slide, you'll see this is where it's the boomers. In both cases, they're buying both the old proof sets and they're likely buying the new proof sets.
Okay. Yeah.
Which ended up being, the number one selling thing at the mint. Proof sets, silver proof sets.
So
mint sets.
Yeah, that's true. Silver proof sets, mint sets.
Boomers.
Yeah, you're probably right. They're booming along.
And then the stuff will be worthless in another 20 years when we all die.
Oh boy.
Well, I'm just saying.
Oh boy.
Wanted to bring a happy ending to that. The U.S. Mint has announced the future for the quarter dollar through 2030.
Okay.
So as we have reported previously, the Mint will release coins for the semi-quincentennial in 2026. That's a big word. Sure it is. And has just announced a new program for 4 years after that will feature youth sports.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's uninspired.
Mike gave you a meh.
I just think it's uninspired. I mean, why not go into your next 10-year program? Or are they trying now to get away from the states?
Well, maybe they're trying to get away from the 10-year program. Maybe they're trying to get away from the 10-year program and get into a smaller program.
I don't know, man. A lot of change. Do you know how that doesn't sit well with the U.S.? Well, I mean, with our government in general, change is not our thing.
Yeah, well, I understand, but I mean, they have been doing this since the 90s. So they're on that. Maybe they've found something. Their next big gig that they want to start throwing around, or the next program that they want to, or the next maybe not program, but like blueprint that they want to try out for the quarter programs.
Sure,
we'll see.
As our neighbor to the north, America's hat continues to lead the way in coin innovation.
Of course they do.
Here we have a dual finished colorized coin, and it wasn't, even if it wasn't really beautiful, I wouldn't care as much, but the complicated finish shows what is possible today.
Yeah, that's cool looking. That's pretty cool. So it is the Eclectic Nature Roller is what they call it.
I just call it a cool looking coin. It's got a black finish with colorized features, and then it has a proof finish with colorized features.
It's like a yin and yang.
Yes, very much so. It's definitely a two-faced coin, and it features Her Majesty one last time. And so this is kind of where we're at. It's like so when you say innovation and you say Canada, this is what you get. When you say innovation about the U.S., they're talking about designs on dollar coins.
Get another quarter program.
Well, no, it's a dollar program, but same thing.
Yeah.
So it seems only yesterday we were discussing the news about finding hubs in the Philadelphia Mint for 1964 Morgan dollars, and here we are.
Yeah.
A brand new edition with everything that was covered in the 6th edition, plus a new appendix by Beth Deischer on the 2021 Morgan and Peace dollars.
Cool.
So this is already the 8th edition, or this is the
7th edition.
7th. Yeah, this is the 7th
edition.
Yeah. So this is the 7th edition of the book, and man, I mean, it's like they just keep doing more and more research, adding more and more to these volumes. I like the Bauer series.
I do too. And when we get Dennis on here in the next month or so, we really should talk to him about these and get him to kind of maybe give us some interesting tidbits about what goes into the production of these Bauer's guides, because I guarantee you Dennis is working hard on them as well.
So that's a tease for listeners that we are going to have Dennis Tucker on a couple of times a year, actually more than a couple, to talk about what is coming up new from Whitman, so that you know what kind of books to be looking for on the horizon.
Yeah.
It's always nice to know. And finally, in the news, speaking of Whitman, the brand new 8th edition of Mega Red is now available. That's where I got the 8th edition on my mind.
Yeah.
This new edition features expanded coverage of, quote, odd U.S. denominations. So we're talking 2-cent pieces, 3-cent pieces, half dimes, 20-cent, double dimes, and gold $1, $3, and $4 coins.
Nice.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more.
The 8th edition also includes an appendix on Canadian 5-cent silver pieces and 20-cent pieces based on the Hsbc guide and Harvey Richards' 100 greatest Canadian coins and tokens.
Huh. So Mega Red took a dive north.
They're gonna cover just a little bit of Canadian history, because look, our coinages are definitely intertwined, and the history is cool and it's very similar.
Certainly.
And, yeah, and so Dennis was right. I'm definitely going to have to reinforce that shelf.
Yeah, for sure.
That was news, and tonight the news was brought to us by Spicy Mike's Hot Sauce, the perfect blend of rational thought and sarcasm, sometimes a little salty, but always a good time. Get you some Spicy Mike's. And by Sweet Matt's Super Hot, nice and sweet, just the way you like it, with a hot back end you won't soon forget. Look forward coming soon. Sweet Matt's Super Hot. Get you some.
Get you some. Sweet Matt. See, that's the first I've heard of this, guys. I haven't heard of this at all. He just drops this stuff on me. So Yeah.
Sounds like that needs to happen.
It does. That's the fun part, I guess.
I know. So for those of you who are patrons,
yes,
I have heard from far too few of you. You got hot sauce waiting for you.
That's
All
true.
you got to do is drop me a line.
That's true. That is true. Spicy Mike's is a real thing.
We got Spicy Mike's. It's a real thing. We got some real hot sauce, and it's really delicious.
It is. I'm kind of glad because I got cases of it now, and I eat it all the time. So
yeah. I know as much as I like.
I've gone through like 3 bottles.
Good stuff, man. I'll have to send you another couple of cases.
Yeah.
So, before we get to our interview with the Mint Director, let's do their coolest things.
You want to do theirs first? Okay.
I always like doing that.
Okay, I'm totally down with that. Let me get myself set. Here we go. I think we're good. All right, here we go, guys.
You know, every other episode, Matt and I, you know, we do our coolest things. Coolest thing that walked into our shop this week. What's funny is we were actually comparing some stuff of our own before we came on the air, and we had some cool stuff. But it's always fun to see your stuff. And so tonight we're going to start with a really cool chop mark trade dollar.
Yeah, Don.
So it's an 1877 trade dollar. He says he wasn't looking for it, but it found him at the last fun show. The history in these are amazing. It's like, I love this coin. I love the whole story behind it, but I'm a story guy, so that's where you had me, and you know that.
Chop marks are really cool. I've always been fond of chop mark coins. I just think the story behind them is really cool. And if you don't know the story behind them, basically these coins went overseas and were used in other economies. And a lot of times these people overseas, they were a little leery of them. So they would have people in their area take a look at the coin, make sure it was genuine, and then put their mark on it. And so that means that if the coin was circulating in your area and you saw this mark, you knew that somebody that knew what they were talking about had looked at it and said it was real and you could take it. It was no problem. So that's the story behind chop marks.
When you might ask yourself, you know, well, why were they taking all these foreign coins? It's because it was silver that was the money.
Yes.
It really wasn't the fact that it was coined by the United States. It was that it was silver.
It's just,
and so as it went to the Far East, they would test it, and if it was silver and it was cool, they would and we took, you know, foreign money here for the longest time until 1857.
Spanish milled dollars.
Yeah, it was legal tender.
Yeah. Let's see. Isaiah Hageman posted 2. He broke the rule. I'm kidding. He said, here we go. This will be fun. His first piece is an interesting counter stamp, which looks to be a slightly adult themed, but that's all right. It's J.J. Boyle and then apparently a woman doing some sort of yoga pose. And then
I think that's well put.
Yeah, and then the next one says, just in case Matt overrules my first submission, here's another, a little more family friendly. And he shows us a video of an 1827 over 6 cat bust half dollar in PCGS MS63 CAC, and it is in a green label holder, and the coin is really nice. Looks like it's got a lot of pretty luster. Very nice coin.
That's a beautiful coin.
Yeah.
And that's why they call him the Slab King.
Slab Daddy.
Marcus Davis, my 2014 Baseball Hall of Fame commemorative signed by the no-hit king, Nolan Ryan. Nice. I plan to repeat this with a Hall of Famer at each position and mount the collection when finished. So that's going to be cool.
Heck yeah, that is cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. Love to have a Frank Thomas one.
There you go. Oh, hey, Mike, check this out. Our buddy Joe Bohannon. He said, I've showed a couple times pieces from this before, but he just finished his 1901 proof set. And he shows it to us here. So these are all PCGS graded, and it looks like the grades are anywhere from proof 64 to proof 66 cameo. He has a dime, a cent, a nickel, a dime, a quarter, a half, and $1, all 1901, all in proof, and all certified by PCGS. That is cool to look at. Those are just so cool.
The half is amazing. The quarter's really nice too, but that half is really amazing.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Reverses are really pretty.
Yeah, super cool.
Justin Urban, PFC. My coolest thing is the Hsbc 150th anniversary uncut banknote sheet. So this banknote is the first ever to feature augmented reality. It also comes with an HSBC history book that tells you about how the banknotes were designed and made. So these, I think I've talked about them. If not, I think they're one of the coolest things out there. They're augmented reality notes.
Yeah, those are cool. If
Point
you've
your
never
phone at these,
played
they
with one of
have like
those,
little animations and stuff like that shows up.
Brian Bass says it's been a slow month, so he posted a $20 bill with a bunch of political stamps all over it. Interesting. You see that stuff floating around in change. And for years and years, actually, currency has been an interesting place where people have used it to further either messages or political statements. Even back to the Civil War, you see that. So interesting piece, and thanks for sharing it.
Russell Di Pasquale. My coolest thing is my wife.
Oh,
My wife. She's gotten interested in coin roll hunting and putting together folder sets. We now go to coin shows together. That's cool. That's really great because now you can have a collection together.
That's right.
And that's, common interests are always good for long-term marriage.
Heck yeah. Let's see. Dennis Mendoza says it's probably my favorite coin in my collection, and he gave us a video. Let's take a look. Ooh, 1858 $10 gold piece in PCGS AU58 plus CAC. Pretty looking
Beautiful
coin.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Thanks for posting.
Stephen Burton, this is my unique Lysimachos tetradrachm from Smyrna. See, now you got an ancient guy that can say that.
That's right. I'm glad you're doing it.
First die match with many examples from that mint. But while Smyrna was previously known for one reverse emission, this specimen is not only different, but contains a unique control mark. So if viewed closely, you'll notice that the bears a shortened crown instead of a torrented crown like Tychian's, I think it's Cybele, as well as what appears to be a scepter behind. And the dies were likely created by Master Celador. See signed K examples from Pergamon. So signatures on Greek coins are cool because they help you figure out, where or what time they came from, what emperor, things like that. This particular coin has a really, really nice depth to it. It's all about the artwork at this point.
Yeah.
And the artwork on this is really nice. It has a fine style, and it's a really nice coin to look at.
Yeah, it is. Cody post, I finally found a nice $100 on this charter. 18 are reported in the census. So my friend Cody loves his national notes, and he really loves his Iowa notes, which is where he's from, and he's been looking for one of these for a while. So I'm glad he found it. Thank you for sharing, Cody.
Yes, Moinas. It's a rarity for me, Corey Scherer. It's a rarity for him to snag up coins for his coolest thing, but he felt this one was worth picking up. It's a 24/2, so an 1824/2 bust dime.
Yeah, PCGS good nice 6 little CAC.
Yep, gives us a really nice little close-up of it where you can see the overdate real nice.
Yeah. Very cool. Very, very cool. I love cat bust times.
Very nice.
Let's see. Jody Dotson said, pick this up because I like Shipwreck Coins. It shows us an 1860 Shipwreck Effect, seated $50, and an NGC holder from the SS Republic. I always think these are cool. This is a really kind of a cool way to get a piece from the SS Republic because, they did have a lot of silver halves, and a lot of them have that kind of saltwater shipwreck effect, which I think makes them cooler. But, you have a piece that is a piece of history that went down on that ship and sat at the bottom of the ocean for a long time. So great way to get those. And they're not terribly expensive, which is a cool part, too.
It is treated as much as a provenance as anything else.
Right.
That shipwreck.
Right.
It's amazing. And, yeah, once you get that, what that shipwreck looks like.
That's right.
It's like you can't miss it on a coin when it's got it.
See, now Steve Vesley here is just...
Wait a minute. So here, this one, I want to give this guy a little bit before you do that.
Yeah.
So this is longtime friend of the show, Steve Vesley. And he has the Office of Shame, where if you look really hard, you'll find the Desk of Shame.
Yeah.
And he he refound this in his office of shame, which means that it's messy enough that he could lose stuff in it. I hate that.
I know, right? And he's just doing this to tease me because he knows that I would want this. This is an uncut sheet of Indiana obsolete notes from the Plank Road Company in LaPorte, Indiana. These are from the 1850s. I believe 1857 is the date that I can see on them. Really cool notes. I've owned each one of these notes individually. Never owned a sheet. So, Steve, hit me up. I want that sheet.
So they printed the sheets.
They printed them with 2 $1 bills, a $2 bill, and a $5 bill.
Okay, so that was what was catching me off guard with this. It was like, that's interesting and something I didn't know.
And then they would cut them for use when they needed them. So,
speaking of longtime friends of the show.
Yeah. Next up, Malcolm McGaw says, this is an English penny issued to the, how do you say that word? Ecclesiastical mint during the reign of Henry VIII, before he shut down the monasteries down and grabbed all the land and gold. It was issued, unfortunately, by the unfortunately named Cuthbert Tunstall in Durham, probably about 1530. Amazing to think that this was being minted and used in commerce. Henry VIII was just about to start his interesting divorce and remarriage journey.
Yeah, he was just about. Didn't he create the Church of England?
My English history is not real great, so
I think that was when he created the Church of England. J.R. Preston, something different, retro-looking Pepsi 500 franc silver bottle cap. Seen this at the Pan Show last May and picked it up. I like collecting oddball things. This is one of those kind of oddball, denomination things. I think they're cool. And I think that it's even cooler that it's Pepsi.
Yeah, you think that. I'm sure they made Coca-Cola ones, but
they did.
Oh, I'm sure they
did. I think are Jamaica.
Huh. Really cool.
Yeah. But see, I'm from Chicago. Chicago, we're Pepsi.
Yeah, you're Pepsi country.
Atlanta's Coke.
Yeah. Jason Weedman says, some of my short snorters. Wow. I actually sold a couple of short snorters today on the internet. So these are very interesting pieces.
Short snorters are cool. And we had a group on Coin Talk and we did a short snorter.
I remember that.
Yeah. Passed it around. We signed it. It was amazing that it went through so many people. Nobody absconded with it. Nobody did anything. It all went through to the people that it was going, and then they auctioned it off and gave the money to charity.
Yeah, I remember that. That was cool.
We should do something like that.
Maybe we should.
For us guys.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
David Platter, modern day hobo silver quarter by David Raymond.
Oh, that's cool.
This is cool. So he took a 1940 quarter. And looks like George has had a lobotomy of some. Well, maybe it's not a lobotomy.
George is different.
Yeah,
very different.
He's had some surgery.
Yeah, very different. Bob Brock posted. He said he took this to the local coin show yesterday, and the annex guy said it would likely be an AU. Hope it passes the test. Got it from a dealer like 12 years ago, so not a recent acquisition. And he said it's tough to get a good shot of, but what he shows us is a 1955 double die obverse Lincoln cent, which is probably one of my favorite varieties of all time. Just so dramatic. It's just so dramatic. It makes you dizzy when you look at them. They're just really, really cool coins. So
yeah,
this
is just one of those that transcends the hobby.
Yes. It's kind of like like the SVDB. People that don't collect coins have probably heard of this
or seen it. Yes,
we're seeing a picture of it.
Andrew Pitcher, another addition to the Civil War typeset, wanted one proof to go along with the business strikes.
That's a cool one to have.
An 1862 quarter in proof 64 cam.
Yeah, by PCGS, nice looking coin. Got some frost to it, buddy. Barry Swan said, I bought these for my brother-in-law who's writing a book on distrust of government. Really, Barry? I got to teach him about how two of the same denomination coins circulated at the same time in the United States. Did you ever talk to Barry about these? I talked to him a little bit about these.
I have not yet. I assume I will at some point. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that's right up my alley, because you know how much I love stories, and
Right.
Why did they circulate these two different 5-cent coins at the same time?
Well, because so the nickels. If I quote this story wrong, Barry, I apologize. But the nickels circulated on the East Coast because they were more apt to take just a coin for a coin. But out on the West Coast, they wanted hard specie. They wanted silver. They wanted gold coinage. So that was why these coins tended to go out west, whereas the East Coast would be okay with just taking a nickel.
That is exactly how I heard it, too.
Yep. So there you go.
Let's see. Brent Pearson. I live in Colorado Springs, and these are actually pretty common to run across in coin shops and garage sales. Not worth a lot, but it's my favorite coin. It's brass encased buffalo nickel. All the examples I've ever seen must have used the same batch of nickels because they all have a slight rotational error. I carve hobo nickels, and at some point I am carving it.
That's cool. This is a cool piece too because it's a watch fob. It was meant to go on the end of your piece to hold your pocket watch in your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like this is put out by some sort of religious organization, Knights Templar on the right-hand side with a sword, and then some other Masonic organization maybe on the left-hand side, or religious. It's hard to say.
And Brent, if you're going to carve hobo nickels, maybe we should talk.
We have talked. Brent is a friend of the show.
Maybe we should talk.
Yeah. Mason Kehoe says, without a picture, but that's okay. 1989D, Liberty is doubled with a BIE. He could talk about it all day. Well, heck yeah.
Hey, yeah. Don Osler. I think this one speaks for itself.
Yeah. Says, mind your business.
This is a Fujio set.
Says, mind your business. I'm going to mind my business. One of the iconic American designs. You got the chains. You got the basically telling England to mind its business, and the sun.
It's funny that they were offended by the chains on the chain set, but not the chains on the Fujio set.
Yeah, it is weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jim Barlow says, well, here are my pride and joys. I've really fallen in love with early American coppers and colonials. With family members deeply rooted in the history of Boston, I hold these coins and wonder if my family members from long ago once held these as well. I'm surely not done collecting. I want them all. That's usually the way it is. Oh, and the pine tree in the annex holder has a doubling of the H. Thought that was super cool. So it looks like we have a pine tree shilling in an annex holder. We also have a pine tree shilling in a PCGS holder. We have a Nova. We have a Massachusetts cent, and we have a Massachusetts half cent. So all very interesting coins. Love that stuff.
Friend of the show, Jack Young.
Oh, I'm sorry. I gotta let Jim finish here. And he said, I know it's not a coin, but it also goes with his colonial collection. And he shows us a 1780 Massachusetts $2 colonial note in PCGS, about new 58 PPQ. Interesting. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I didn't mean to interrupt. I actually like the colonial currency. I think it's really cool. Okay, so Jack Young, friend of the Coin Show, started collecting Vermont coppers for an NGC registry set, but had to have this crossover. The New Jersey camel head overstruck on a Vermont landscape from the
cool.
Sid Martin collection. And Sid Martin, there you go. That's another one from his collection.
Very cool. Yeah, that's neat. And I like the way that the understrike kind of pops through the middle of the shield there. It makes it look like a completely different shield. Very, very interesting coin.
And then he gives us a comparison with one that doesn't do that.
Yeah, you can see the eye kind of coming through, and yeah, that's neat. That's super neat. But I think it makes that shield look really cool. I wish that coin was a little higher grade. It would probably look really neat.
Eyeball right in the middle of the shield.
Yeah. All right. Dave Nelson, my friend who loves him some commemoratives, shows us his 1939 Oregon Trail $50. Looks like it's got some pretty toning, which a lot of these do. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. That's a
nice honest coin.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. I like a nice commem.
Wonderful design.
Yes.
Love that design.
Yes.
Chris Elliott, my dad told me my grandparents had a full collection of Mercury dimes, so I said I need to see it. Does it in fact have the 16D? Do you think it's a 2 or 4 grade? Should I get it slabbed?
16Ds almost always need to be slabbed. I would just recommend getting it done just for, peace of mind.
Yeah, you definitely want to have that one slabbed because I'm not quite so sure about that mid-mark.
Well, let me look. Yeah, it's a little low.
It looks so good.
No, it don't look so good. I'm
Send it and have it certified. You never know.
I'm a little leery of that one.
Yeah, that one doesn't look so good.
Jack Smith says,
and honestly, that's common.
Yes.
So I mean, that's really common. It happens all the time.
Very common. Jack Smith says, this is a cool
Colonel
one.
Jack Smith.
Yes. I have in the PC. I think Isaiah Hegeman might be jealous of it. Wow. It's a 15S Panama Pacific $50 mounted in an NGC AU details holder. The cool part is they actually cut the insert for the NGC slab to keep the ring of the coin from getting damaged. Interesting.
Yeah, I saw this one in person. Colonel Smith brought it into me and showed it. He's always got something interesting.
Michael Cottle shows us a 2006 Peep and Franklin Scientist in NGC MS70. Very interesting Commem dollar. I like that reverse design with the joiner die snake. Very cool.
Yes. Jake Lexa, set of 3 Booker T. Washington. Flawless that came along with their hobby shop envelopes.
Ooh, cool. And they have some pretty color.
Yeah, nice toning. Ash Dobbs. Here's a tough Edward VI crown from 1551. This is the first year of this denomination, the first year English coinage had a date.
Really?
That's actually really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
somebody actually asked me that question today. What was the earliest date I could that we saw on a coin? And so that's the first year they put them on English coins, 1551. Huh.
So the obverse has a king on a horse riding or holding a sword. The reverse has the coat of arms of England. Very cool piece of history. And we want to thank everybody for sharing their coolest things.
Yeah, that's it. That's the coolest thing. Thank you
That's
guys
by far my favorite
so
part of
much.
the show.
You guys are really, really cool. I really just love seeing all the stuff that you guys bring to the show. It's just awesome. You guys are great. So thank you so much for doing that.
No matter what walks into our shop, we get a bigger variety when we ask for their coolest.
We really do. We get to see all sorts of stuff. We saw stuff from augmented reality notes and sheets to,
Fujio
sense to, English crown. I mean, it's just awesome. It's just awesome. You guys rock.
Yeah.
You guys rock. All right. Well, now, guys, let's get to this. Mike and I have been talking back and forth with the Mint director for quite some time and her staff about getting together. And after a couple of times of us having to push back for different reasons, we finally this week got our shot with the Mint director. So, Mike, anything else you want to say about this before I just push play and let her go?
Enjoy.
You're listening to the Coin Show Podcast with Matt Dinger and Mike Nottleman.
And we have a very special guest for you this week on the Coin Show Podcast. She has a long and proud history of government service, having served in the United States Navy, the Federal Aviation Administration, the Bureau of Veterans Affairs, where her primary focus was on human capital. She continued this type of work with the National Labor Relations Board as well as the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services before being named Deputy Director and Acting Director of the United States Mint in 2021. Most recently, she was confirmed by the United States Senate on June 15th, 2022, to become the 40th Director of the United States Mint. Please give a warm Coin Show Podcast welcome to Ventress Gibson.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for joining us, Ms. Gibson. And just for clarity of who's who, I'm Mike.
And I am Matt.
And I am Ventress Gibson.
Thank you
glad
very
to
much.
be here. Thank you. Yes.
So we at the Coin Show Podcast have been, as some might say, critical of the Mint and ordering difficulties of the most recent past when it comes to low mintage, high demand items. So the website's been crashing. The phone lines have been overloaded. And in general, it has been a nightmare for anyone who has really wanted a single for their collection. So my first question to you is, what is the Mint doing to alleviate the ordering meltdowns of the recent past during new coin releases?
Well, thank you for that question, and I feel the frustration. And before I answer, one of the things that we did was when I found out that this was a challenge, I instructed our sales and marketing team to take another look at it. What could we do? And I made sure to send out letters to our customers, just letting everybody know what was going on and what we, the Mint, were facing at that time. But the high volume coin drops that we did in November of 2020, and then several subsequent events that resulted in the website performance surely didn't meet our expectations, nor did it meet any of our customers. So we made a number of changes to address those issues. One is which we identified the automated bots as a major contributor to the website volume on certain drop days. And as you know, those are bots that come in and continuously order, and thus it doesn't give the average consumer an opportunity to get in. So we developed the software that identified those patterns that the bots used, and we began blocking that traffic before it reaches the website. So that is a huge accomplishment that I am very happy about. We also made some other type of changes. They refer to them as architectural change to prevent the bots from even bypassing the blocker. And that's huge. So from a technology perspective, we were able to solve the bot problem. We then expanded the enrollments program, which we now, as you know, call it subscriptions, so that we could have more positive outcomes with our marketing efforts. And we encouraged our customers to subscribe because it was really the best way. And I did it myself. One of the things I have found that when the team tells me this is how it's going to work, I go and I be a customer, and I'm probably the worst critic of things because I want to feel like a customer feels. And if I get frustrated, I let people know this does not work well. So the subscription program, as I said, is really the best way that a consumer can, in fact, guarantee access to most of our popular products. And that, of course, will eliminate the high volume of those drop days. We also modified our Morgan and Peace offering to make sure that the mitigation of blank supply chains and scheduling risks were minimized, and we also we minimized the risk while enabling the production, that is, of additional coins. So we were able to adjust our ability, especially this year, to meet demand. And that's something I'm very excited about because, as you might recall, we did not have a Morgan and Peace in 2022. And the reason why we didn't is, as you know, the legislation that governs the U.S. Mint has us with 3 mandated programs, one being circulating coin, the second is bullion, and the third is numismatic. And our 4th mission, as most people know, is to protect the assets at the Fort Knox Bullion Depository and other places. So when I have to manage and balance what is the requirements that the Mint must meet, I have to find to make sure that our suppliers, and as many of you might know, the silver suppliers and others have suffered with workforce challenges just as everyone else has during the pandemic. And so the staffing shortages has created the supply chain issue. As we're starting to adjust to this new way of doing business, we have found that making that balance between gold and silver and between numismatic and bullion, what I decided to do in 2022 is, rather than totally disappoint people by putting some things out there from a Morgan and Peace perspective like we did in 2021, we were flooded with just high volumes of discontent that we didn't have enough product. And I did not want to send customers through that again. Already, we are prepared for the 2023 market, and we have really tried our best to balance it more equitably so that we can meet both the demand for bullion as well as our NUMI customers. So since implementing these measures, we have had a number of coin releases of similar scope. Since we've eliminated the bot, that is for taking care of it from a technology and an architectural perspective and through the subscriptions program. And we actually have gotten compliments. And it's been a while since we've gotten compliments. So we've seen our website performance really increase over the past few months.
The expansion of the subscription program, I have to say, was the first noticeable thing. And even I was up on the soapbox cheering for you with that. I thought it was something noticeable and worked well. Matt?
Thank you.
I agree with that as well. Thinking about, our show is really dedicated and geared towards collectors, and we get a lot of feedback from collectors about the U.S. Mint. So what would you say to collectors that have been critical in the past, again, about the website, about the product? We addressed some of that in the last question, but I think how are things going or changing under your direction?
Oh my, that is a great question because I get excited. I think I shared that when I was in Chicago with you all that first and foremost, one of the things, if you don't mind, I guess this is kind of like the magic wand. What is it that if I could change immediately, and these are the ways in which I'm looking at our path forward. One is circulating. Of course, I have to make the nickels, dimes, and pennies for the economy. That's a requirement. However, we need to get coin moving again. There is a distribution challenge within the coining industry. And what I mean by that is during the pandemic, over 128 million people began to keep coins in jars and other places. And so we in the Mint had to close the gap and make more. We made 14.9 billion coins during that period of time. That's a lot.
Yes.
And that doesn't count numismatic products or the bullion program. And so one is if we can get coin moving, that would be helpful. Secondly, if the supply chains, if we can get the workforce needed in place where we can, make sure we're getting our raw materials in, but also we're looking at other suppliers as well. Taking care of the Mint workforce. They've worked, unlike most sovereign mints in the world, throughout the pandemic and continue to work. And we do our best to meet as much of the need as possible that the Federal Reserve asks. So we are still just pushing the envelope really, really hard. We're preparing for the semi-quincentennial. That's going to be a big deal. That's the 250th anniversary of our country in 2026. So stay tuned for some products that will come in advance of that and that will showcase that year. Connecting youth to coins, an idea that our chief engraver had that we're excited about is how do we get our youth excited? Do we do things that through youth and sports, and what can we do legislatively and having Congress help us to relax some of the provisions that will afford us an opportunity to do more in the numismatic area. The American Women's Coins Program, 2022 was a phenomenal year, and it really heightened and recognized trailblazing and pioneering women. Well, guess what? The 2023 is going to be equally as exciting with Edith Kanaka-Oli, with Eleanor Roosevelt, Bessie Coleman, Dovita Idar, as well as Maria Tallchief. So that's exciting. And we are coming out, of course, in 2023 with Morgan and Pease. So yay, I'm happy about that.
I know we are too.
I really am. I mean, what a beautiful, beautiful coin. They are beautiful. And every time I look at them, I get chilled. Protect and serve. One of the items that I want to continue enforcing is that, we need to take care of our workforce. We need to always protect our national assets, and making sure that the landscape around policing is as modern and forward-thinking as possible in this day and time. Quality of our products, we do not plan to ever reduce our quality, and that is huge. And then the last item, and I know I'm a little wordy on this, but it's what I love, communicating with you guys, bringing back the numismatic forum. making sure I'm out there at coin shows so that I hear and see and feel what's going on and can come back and make the appropriate adjustments, or at least get to some of the policy makers, like members of Congress, to say, here's what I need, and go forth from there.
Now you mentioned being at the coin show, and that was actually my first experience, with you. And unfortunately, I didn't get to meet you, but we did see you at the World's Fair of Money, which was really for me interesting. There have been obviously other mint directors come to these, but I saw you actually walking around the floor looking in the cases, and for me that was a kind of a refreshing, refreshing take from a mint director to actually be out and look at what somebody like me, who's a coin dealer, does. Was that your first kind of experience at one of those large shows, or had you been to other ones in the past?
That was my first.
That was a very interesting. You reminded me of myself a lot, actually, when I went to my very first show, because I just kind of stumbled around and looked and was very, very awestruck at all the fun and interesting things that were out.
Don't suggest that the mint director was stumbling.
No, I'm sorry. There was no suggestions there.
But Director Gibson, the fact that you are out in the public just a little bit more than previous, I have to say I appreciate, the fact that you've agreed to come on here with us. We've been doing this for almost 13 years, and you are the first mint director. I mean, we've had lots of other people on, but you're the first actual mint director that's agreed to come on. So I salute you for that.
Well, I tell you what, and thank you for that. But this, I have family members, an uncle who is a collector. And over the years, I always tell this story because it is just something to me. And this is more about a quarter than anything, but it started my interest in coins. But when I have 5 brothers, and when I was a little girl, my uncle would come to visit us, and he would give the boys 50 cents each and would give me a quarter because I was a girl. And even then, my father laughed because he said to me, well, when I tell you good, better, best, never let it rest until your good is better and your better is best, you took me seriously, because I went in the room knowing when the next time, his name was Uncle Steve, when he came over, I combed my bangs back and gave the appearance of flat hair like my brothers. And so when he felt my head, I'm sorry, he was sight impaired. That's the reason why he would just feel our head.
Okay.
And he gave me 50 cents. And then when he found out that I had dubbed him, he says, well, you deserve the 50 cents. So
there you go.
But that was my first real experience. The Kennedy, any of these coins that we have just, from commemorative to even circulating, means so much to me. And for me to come out of retirement and do this, it's an honor and a joy. And I just look forward to what else can I do, to really continue with either the current template for commemorative coin programs or a new template. What do we do? How do I see us in 10 years?
Yeah, I mean, and that's we really do talk about, and I know we have actually been critical in the past of the mint, and sometimes it was deserved, and sometimes I think that I think that for me at least, I really am hopeful for this, because you and just taking the time to talk to us, but also giving us a look into what drives you, I think is really refreshing to me as somebody who just kind of watches from afar. But I really am hopeful, and I really am glad that you decided to come join us. So thank you so much for that. Mike, do you have any other questions you'd like to ask the director?
Sure. I'm loaded for bear.
Go for it.
Ms. Gibson, would you be inclined to do another program for collectors like the W Mint America the Beautiful quarters that they did in 2019 and 2020?
Well, let me do this. I'm not going to say no, because I do have to confer with others. And so I make a commitment that I will definitely check and let you know for sure.
Okay. Are you aware of the program? Are you familiar with what the Mint did in 2019 and 20?
I know of some in 2020, but not 2019. That's why I want to check before I commit myself.
So what the Mint decided
I
to
know we
do
put
was,
W's, right?
right, they minted
Yeah, are you talking
2
about when we
million.
put W's on?
Correct. They minted 2 million of each design
Yes,
at the West Point
yes,
Mint and just put them into
yes.
circulation. They didn't put them into sets. They didn't make any option that you could just buy them. You had to look in your change for these. And that in and of itself really drove a lot of collector
Okay,
interest.
yes, I'm familiar.
Okay. So would you be inclined to do another program like that?
Well, I will check into it because we have so many ideas about that are coming in about that, kind of like a treasure hunt.
That's
Yes.
So,
No, it was the Great
yeah.
American Coin Hunt that basically
Yeah.
inspired that.
Yes. I will definitely look into that for sure. I think that would be phenomenal, especially if we advertise it with our youth.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, I read an interview of yours in CEO magazine where you said that the power of money brings people together. How do you intend to incorporate that in your mission as the Mint director?
So when you think about what we say, connecting America through coins, one of the things that I've done, in fact, the job just closed, where I'm hiring a community outreach specialist. And this is where we want to reach out to the community, especially the unbanked and underbanked, reaching out to our youth, enhancing our education program that we provide for schools, et cetera. And last but certainly not least, doing public service announcements and other type of announcements, the marketing, to make sure that people know the value of coins, making sure they know just the pure joy and the passion of looking at some of the beauty that comes from the commemorative coin collection, and that it's an investment in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
I was sharing with my son, I said, I gave him a coin, I'm not going to specify because I think that wouldn't be fair, but I gave him a fairly pricey for he and his wife's first year anniversary. And I said, if you keep this coin for at least 10 years, here's what it would be worth if you keep it longer. And before throwing that penny out, look and see what the date is. And so I've gotten them excited about it. And that's what we want to do. We want to make sure we get the word out, that we create excitement around numismatics and create new coin collectors because it certainly is our livelihood. But more importantly, it's when I talk with the employees, just last week, I spent a full shift being a coin presser, and I ran 6 presses. And I did that for 8 hours because just to see what each employee brings to bringing that coin to life just gives you chills. So that is what my goal is to reach out through this community outreach specialist to design programs, design initiatives that will make sure that people know, here's where we are, here's what we do, but more importantly, here's how you can make a difference, and this can make a difference in your life.
See, this is one of the things that I think comes through from you specifically. Is I don't know if it's your background in human resources or just in people in general, human capital, as we like to put it, but you can just feel there's a genuineness to you, that what you're doing is something that you're really driven to do and that you really feel passionate about. And there are a lot of people in this hobby business, whatever you want to call it, that are equally passionate. And it's just really nice to see it from the end of the manufacturing part.
Yeah, I agree with that. A little passion goes a long way in this whole fun.
It surely does.
So the Mint makes commemorative coin programs every single year, and they generally make them on a template, right? They make 50,000 $5 gold coins. They make 400,000 silver dollars and 750,000 clad half dollars. Is this a template that you think is good going forward, or something maybe that should be re-examined? You know, where certain bills, like I think it was the Krista McAuliffe bill, where it was only made in a silver dollar. And I understand that legislation is going to inform a lot of what you make, right? Because if they legislate it, you have to make it. But is
That's
there
right.
a recommendation to legislators creating, specific commemorative coin bills that says it's okay to not mint the clad halves for a specific issue, or to not mint a gold coin in some cases? And would that be beneficial? Would the mint make a recommendation like that going forward to allow the mint to manufacture commemorative coins in numbers that are really closer to actual demand?
So that is such a good question, because as you know, and I think for the listeners to have this just very brief couple of sentences that I'd like to share on the Commemorative Coin Reform Act, it was established that the structure for the modern commemorative coin program exists. So Congress really individually passed a law for each coin program, and it specifies what the theme should be. It specifies the availability of coinage, that is a combination of gold, silver, and clad, the mintaging, surcharges per coin, the recipient organization, as well as the time period that the coins are minted and issued. And as you know, only those are minted and issued each year in accordance with the law. So, and right now they only authorize 2 commemorative coins per year. So our Office of Legislative and Intergovernmental Affairs here, we've been working diligently to make sure we maintain an open and ongoing communication with Congress. Now, a new Congress will probably be coming in January. Regardless of, what the outcome of the elections are, you still are going to have new members. And so it is our responsibility to educate them. But one of the things that we have been tasked with doing, and when I say we, meaning all of us in the Mint, I've tasked the leaders with thinking about, and the Secretary has given us, full license to take a look at things like alternative metals for circulating coins is one that would make sure that seigniorage is you make a penny and it's 2.1 cents to make a penny. So that's one. But what other initiatives can we put forward, the U.S. Mint through Treasury, to the Congress that will make numismatic and other programs a little more widely available and give the Mint a little more flexibility in doing so? So I hear you very loud and clear, and we're looking at what else can we do to make our lives easier when it comes to numismatic products, and also to meet the demand and the need of the public. Now, I can't guarantee the outcome because I don't control Congress, but I'll give it a good try.
Well, that's all we can ask for.
Good luck on that one.
Yeah, right. But one of the things in my former life in various federal agencies, the relationship with Congress is very important. And in my confirmation hearing, that was one question: will you work with Congress? And the answer is absolutely, and without a doubt. So if there's anything I can do to enhance the relationship with the members that have a say in this regard, I certainly will do so.
Well, Director Gibson, just one last question before we let you go here. Are there any exclusive news that you can share with us about any upcoming products or events?
Well, the only upcoming event, which is non-numismatic, is the rollout of the Anime Wong coin, quarter specifically, and that's going to be with Paramount in Los Angeles in November. So that's exciting.
Ooh, that's cool.
But we do have some other things on the horizon, but they would beat me up pretty bad if I was to share it.
Darn it, I tried.
No scoops for us?
I tried, darn it. I gave it a shot, but that's okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I have one final question for you, and then I promise we will let you go, and that is, first, thank you so much for being here. We'd like to offer this to you anytime if you would please come back and answer some more questions for us. We'd also like to offer it as a forum anytime that you have a message that you really want to get out to about roughly 3,000 people. Just kidding. That you'd feel comfortable coming back here anytime you want.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite, and I appreciate that.
That is Ventress Gibson, the 40th Mint Director of the United States. Thank you so much for being our guest.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
You're listening to the Coin Show Podcast with Matt Dinger and Mike Nodelman.
I think that we got our money's worth on that one.
I think so too. I think you're right.
Yeah, that was a very thorough interview, very thorough. And I think that she answered pretty much everything that we asked.
There was a lot of meat to that interview. You're exactly right. A lot of questions that we had got answered. A lot of things that we've heard about for a long time from listeners, from people in the coin shop, all sorts of questions. There was lots to digest from that interview. I actually kind of almost want to go back and listen to it again and kind of take in some.
I actually got more from it listening to it than I did asking the questions the first time. So, yeah, I would agree with that.
Well, that was a heck of a show, Mike. That was a heck of a show.
That was definitely action packed, and that was about as good as it gets. So with that said, we would like to thank the people that helped make this show possible. Justin Irvin and Barry Swan tonight for sitting on our Facebook page and watching what's going on. Ernesto for all the work that he does all the time. Corey Scherer for being that guy. And, you guys for listening. Without you guys, this whole endeavor would be just pointless, and I would have never talked to the Mint director. So, for the Coin Show, I guess I'm Mike.
And I guess I'm Matt.
Yeah, we guess we'll talk to you next time. The Coin Show Podcast.
You've been listening to the Coin Show Podcast with Matt Dinger and Mike Nodelman. Tune in next time when the boys bring you another exciting episode. You can find them wherever you get your podcasts, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, on our website at www.coinshowradio.com. You can also join our private Facebook group where everyone sees every post. Just search Facebook for Friends of the Coin Show and ask to join. If you'd like more, you can become a subscriber on Facebook or join our Patreon at www.patreon.com/thecoinshow. If you sign up at the $5 month level or higher, you'll have access to exclusive content on patreon.com on the off weeks, including the Not the Coin Show podcast. Thanks for listening to the longest running coin podcast in the world of numismatics. This has been the one and only, the original. This has been the Coin Show Podcast.